Now turning to the US, because if we ask what's happening in the US, we will know what will happen in Europe in the next year. So Bennett Weiner, who is CEO of BBB Wise Giving Alliance, what can you tell us about what's happening in the US?
Well, first I must apologize for the old picture of me on the screen. My hair was darker, my face was mustached, but alas, no longer. A little bit about the history of internet fundraising. I remember back in the 1990s, there was a lot, late 1990s particular, in the US, there was a lot of misperception about the impact of the internet at that time on fundraising. Everybody thought that if you build it, they will come, all the donors, and at very low cost. It was going to be a godsend to charities, and there was lots of talk. There were numerous platforms that were created at that time, and they really didn't deliver. It didn't happen. I think there was exposure to the concept of giving online, but in the late 1990s, people were just not comfortable enough with making a donation online. So that was one factor. And the other thing I was reminded this morning with an excellent panel about giving in France, but there was a comment that was true for France, that's true for the United States, which is most of the public donors, the givers of small amounts that end up big dollars, are from the older people who are 70 and above. And guess what? Those older people don't go on the internet as much to make donations. Younger people do. But that's going to be a challenge, I think, in terms of the ages as to what people make donations and where they do it. Anyway, from 2000 to 2010, I think there was a growth in being open to internet giving that developed because of the proliferation of the ease with which the access of the internet had, but also every charity now has a website. That wasn't the case in the late 1990s. Today, you're not a charity if you don't have a website, practically, and just about every charity that has a website has a donation button where you can make a contribution. Now, I would say 2011 to 2014, I think has come the intervention of social media, which has brought it up to a new level. I mean, crowdfunding that was just mentioned is just one of them. There is mobile giving. It's a whole diversity of different types of new technologies that are coming into existence now that charities are seeking to take advantage of, and with good reason. A little bit about crowdfunding I just wanted to add. Crowdfunding, I know, is very popular. It sounds exciting, and I guess in some cases it is, but it still represents a small slice of giving. Internet in general, crowdfunding and everything else, there was a survey done by the trade paper in the United States, the Chronicle of Philanthropy, and they surveyed just recently, this article came out, 400 of the largest charities in the United States, and 100 of them responded to the survey. And of that 100, they said that internet fundraising for them, the median or midpoint of their activities was 2% of their total giving, just 2%. And so it's not an average, it's a midpoint, but that certainly is telling of the low activity among the largest charities in comparison to all other giving. So what is the biggest type of giving in the United States? It's direct mail. The crown for giving direct mail still has that crown in the United States. That's what people are responding to, and that's what people are using. But that crown will eventually fall at some point, and for a couple of reasons. One is the older generation, those born before 1945, are getting older, and they're not going to be around forever, And the boomers who are getting older, the baby boomers, they're coming into existence. Are they going to give as much in the same way? It looks like not. It looks like it's going to be a little bit different. And so there's going to be a different mix that's going to be taking place. The other factor that's going to eventually be hit, I know in the U.S., I don't know about other countries, is the cost of mailing. In the United States, the reason direct mail works is because if you're a charity, you get to mail a fundraising letter at much lower cost than if you were a business, with a type of an offer. And it's that low nonprofit postal rate that enables charities to do direct mail. If they didn't have that rate, they wouldn't be able to do it. And so what's happening? The U.S. Postal Service has financial troubles, and they've always been talking about recently, well, maybe instead of 6 days a week delivery, maybe 5 days a week. Has been talk on that. And I almost every year when they're talking of budgets, there's talk of, well, should we cut the nonprofit postal rate or make them pay more? And at some point in time, it's going to happen. And what's going to happen to the charities is they're going to turn to the new forms of fundraising out of necessity, not out of choice. So I think the lesson learned right now, perhaps, is that unless you get involved now as a charity into these various different efforts or learn of the ins and outs of working with them, you may be facing a day when your fundraising stream that may rely on other forms of communication may not be there as much as it was.
Many thanks. Also, it's interesting because, by the way, we don't know what will happen. That's the point.